Yeah, so you've got quite the startup journey story. So tell me about, 5 years ago, you're like, all right, we're doing this.
I knew that I had it in me, and I definitely knew that I have to try because down the line I'll be mad at myself. So
So you got in the business, you got this big contract, you needed to find people to work for you. How'd you do that? Did you start hiring your friends? Did you find people that you knew that you used to work with? Like, how did you build your team?
what's your why? What's your little thing that you're doing better than the other person? I come to grow a little bit down the line where I found another me or somebody can help me and then kind of spread. But I was always, especially at the beginning, I was always with subcontract.
All right. Welcome again to the Superpro Podcast, where we spotlight the top professionals in the home service industry, learning about their journeys, their challenges, their success stories. I'm your host, Roland Ligtenberg. I'm the co-founder of House Call Pro. And today, I'm super thrilled to welcome Marko Jovanovski, owner of Magnus Flooring, LLC. Marko's built a reputable flooring company in the New Jersey area over the past 5 years. He has 8 employees with 6 trucks and vans on the road. He's got a goal of $2 million for 2024. He's known for delivering high-quality workmanship, consistently completing top-notch projects. We're going to talk about that. I'm super excited to learn about Marko's growth journey and how House Call Pro played a role in his business's success. Marko, welcome to the show.
Awesome, hey, thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
so you've got quite the startup journey story. So tell me about, 5 years ago, you're like, all right, we're doing this. We're starting Magnus Flooring. Where did Magnus even come from? What's your story? I love hearing about that stuff.
So, I mean, I started 5 years ago. I was actually working for a different flooring contractor, and it was actually during COVID. Uh, and it was a crazy story because at a part of your life where you're working for somebody else and you're trying to decide, hey, do I take matters if in my own hands and improve on all of this to make my life better? I knew that I had it in me, and I definitely knew that I have to try because down the line I'll be mad at myself. So I just wanted to try on my own, and it was a tricky period where I was coming off of a decent job where I had a lot of the things like the freedom and the decent salary, but when you work for somebody else, you're expected to deliver 5 to 15 times more than what you make. So I knew that I had more in me and that I can deliver service on a better way. So I decided to venture on my own and then start Magnus Flooring. And the beginnings are, they say, tough, but it was a tricky one for me because I struggled to find customers and find work, especially at the beginning. And you get involved with pretty big expenses where you buy a vehicle, you open a business, and you invest in some tools and things that you need for the business and resources. So it was kind of broad to see where it goes. And one of the fun stories that I have, when I started, like, I went everywhere. Like, I started to split my cards and do it the old way, knock on doors and tell people and businesses about myself. And I sent about 300 to 400 emails like that. I manually found businesses online
Wow.
just in the area because New Jersey is
Yeah.
big. And out of those 400 emails that I sent, I got zero responses, man. I got zero, nada. So I kept doing what I was doing. My budget was going even smaller, of not enough resources to work with. So I sent a follow up to those 400, and out of those 400, one responded,
One.
which happens to be a customer to this day that brings more than $500,000 in sales. So that's
Wow.
a good one for
Oh
you.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, that really goes to show that, even though you were told no effectively because you got no responses the first wave, even a second follow up, you only had that one response, but you never know what you end up with. And that $500,000 a year client, that's huge, especially in the beginning of your company when your resources are going down, 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 and all of a sudden you landed like this whale.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
what did you say in those emails to get them? Like, tell me what was the body of the email? What did you put in there?
I mean, there's different ways to approach this, and I wanted to simplify it. You don't want to give a lot of info to people, and I didn't know a lot of things probably that I'm saying right now, but when you're sending an email to a cold email, a cold call, main thing through an email is the name of the email, the title of the email. So what you include is their name and your name, and somehow that you can connect with that person and tell them a little bit about yourself and what your offer of how you're going to help them. Because you definitely have needs if you're reaching out to them, but it's how you can make that partnership mutual and work for both sides.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. I mean, always starting with like what's in it for you, right? Which is the other side, what's in it for them is always the right way to go. And then obviously, you're hoping for that work and, to do all that, but you got to position them correctly. And I do like the tip too, including their name. People love hearing their name. They love seeing their name. They love reading their name, with your name there, it makes sense. And obviously when you're doing cold email, you gotta, it's a big numbers game. So you can't give up. If you send out 10 emails and you get no responses, don't be surprised. If you send out 100 and you get no responses, in your case, don't be surprised.
Oh, sure.
You had to do hundreds and hundreds of them multiple times. What a cool story. Yeah. So you got in the business, you got this big contract, you needed to find people to work for you. How'd you do that? Did you start hiring your friends? Did you find people that you knew that you used to work with? Like, how did you build your team?
So for the longest time, honestly, it was just me. And the beginning was also hard because I was just a guy that it was renting at a second floor. And I was trying to figure out how can I offer a service or at least a name that it kind of shows like, hey, I'm offering professional flooring services, but I don't have a warehouse. I don't have where to deliver these things. I don't have a lot of things that these big established companies have. And you're working against, or you're going against a lot of bigger companies, especially in this New Jersey area, which is a lot of sharks are around.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to see any way that you can, what's your why? What's your little thing that you're doing better than the other person? So for me, it was delivering quick and quality service. Even when I started, I was offering same day estimates. So I'll go to a customer house. I'll give them the estimate right there. I had a little portable printer that I can print the estimate right away. If they're elderly people, you give it to them, they sign it. So it was find any edge over the competition that it can eventually work for you. And I didn't have where to deliver these materials. I didn't have where to deliver hardwood and carpet and receive it and get a PO and things like that. I was kind of winging it, but it was like, all right, I'll find a way to make this work. So I found a location where I can deliver my materials. I found a good software of how to get those estimates to the customers and how to present myself the way I'm honestly not at that point, because I'm going just by my word at that point. So you're selling yourself. So you got to sell yourself pretty good.
Yeah.
So I come to grow a little bit down the line where I found another me or somebody can help me and then kind of spread. But I was always, especially at the beginning, I was always with subcontractors. So I'll find the work, I'll order all materials, I'll prepare it, and I'll go with the installer on the job site in the morning, explain him everything, make sure he does the job well. I finish it with the customer and I follow up, and it was always, if it's not 100%, the customer don't pay me. And I always made sure it's 110%.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like in the beginning, you, like you said, you got to find that edge and you got to be hungry. And then especially like being able to do the estimate, everything on site, boom, right there, get the signature. That's something that usually you call for an estimate. They're like, oh, I'll get you scheduled for next week or whatever. It's like, no. Like, let's get you going now. So I love your ability to find that differentiation, and then also making it happen when you don't have a place to get stuff delivered. You got to figure out a way how you order that stuff, get it there, because you can't just have stuff drop shipped to a customer's home and have them deal with, all that heavy flooring. It's just not professional look. And then looking bigger than you actually are. Definitely with House Call Pro, you can look like a much bigger, more professional shop more easily, so that the customers are like, okay, now I know why I'm paying Marko the big bucks, right? It's a legit company, even though in the beginning it's yourself and you're subbing out some work and you're kind of pulling things together.
Exactly. I mean, House Call Pro has helped me a lot exactly for that reason, where you look more professional. You can get them the estimate right away. You can receive a payment on the spot. You can they can schedule it online for the time that works for them. And the features are endless. But it just, especially at that beginning where it's like, all right, this will help me big time because I don't have to transfer customers from a paper to this to that. It's kind of one-stop shop.
Yeah. And, when you're starting out, you got that one big contract. I think especially, well, in most home service, there's like an ebb and flow, a seasonality to all businesses, even if you're doing indoor work like flooring, because people probably aren't doing new floors, come December, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's other ways to pitch that angle. But
yeah, I mean, there is, I mean, obviously, but it's that I wish that was a contract that was like, all right, here's $500,000, work with it. It was, you know how it is. Nothing is guaranteed. It was one job after another. And it was a lot of small jobs. You were on a lot of jobs that nowadays I wouldn't even take. I wouldn't even look at because they're so, time consuming and you don't make any money. But it was, especially at the beginning, you do whatever it's needed to make it happen.
Yeah. And you become known for that. And then they keep coming back at you, and that's how you.
Exactly. I mean, I always knew that there is a person out there. There's a customer. There is a contractor. There is a realtor. There is somebody that needs it done right. And no matter at the end of the day, sometimes the price is so minimal to a point if you got it done or not, or if you do it the first time or not, that it kind of, it's you do it right and you'll make it happen.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. How else are you finding ways to drive consistent growth? I feel like that is pretty hard for most of our pros, and it's difficult when you've got employees starting to work for you and you got to keep them busy. Like, how are you doing that, and what are your channels?
For the longest time, it was residential. Now we're mixing up a few things where we have building management, we have some realtors and designers, we have commercial side that it helps us grow a little bit, and we also have a contract with some distributors and stuff that we can deliver job after job. Biggest thing, obviously, that everybody knows is do a quality work, and that word will get around. If nothing else, another person, another customer. And sometimes one customer or one client is enough for you to do, to be busy for the year. You can come across a contractor that is building, houses or buildings that can give you work for steadily, if not for a few months, which is huge. But one of the main thing is also like, make sure you advertise and you make sure you grow. Like, for example, recently, and I'm finding out about some things as I go, is there is additions to a software. There is additions to what you can do to do it better and more efficiently, so you can be more effective. And also, once you're growing, you're not going backwards. So it's finding new ways to deliver quality service and quality work.
Yeah, I think like what you're saying is the golden nugget. If you start with quality service, quality work, quality price, people will start to learn about you, share about you, and that starts to build the longer you are in business. It's obviously hard to do in the beginning. Like you even mentioned, there's jobs you were doing that you're like, nowadays, you'd be like, no, thank you. Go find one of the other New Jersey Sharks to go do it. But in the beginning, you might need to take some of those, even if you're just kind of keeping, the time clock spinning and the trucks rolling, to continue building that reputation. You mentioned a little bit about finding other things that help you become kind of more efficient, or like add-ons. What are you doing? What are you finding that's working for you?
I mean, as long as you show that you're more engaging, like for example, Google what's one of the big things for everybody, not only for us. Google My Business, growing reviews, finding ways how to request for those reviews and get them from the customers. We have about 170 Google reviews within 5 years, which is hard to get reviews. I mean, we do on average about 350 jobs a year. So it's not a lot of reviews in comparison to the volume of jobs that we've completed successfully and delivered that. But it's finding the little different way of, what can help you. Even sometimes when a contractor finishes a job, they're like, all right, let me get my money. we're like, all right, do you need anything else? Here's a maintenance instructions. Here's a cleaning kit. Like, can we help you with anything else? Like, making sure that they're super satisfied, and that will help also with, you over delivering, them spending 2 minutes to write that review. So that's one of the biggest things. We got a new gadget on our website as well just now that it shows a broad map, and we got it integrated with House Call Pro, which is working perfectly, and it's helping when a customer goes on our website to see all the homes that we've been reviewed with description and pictures of the work itself, which is pretty cool, which is pretty accurate to the location that we've done them in. So that's helping big time as well. So it's whatever you can find that works for you, you go with it. And if it doesn't work, you push it on the side and you try something else.
Yeah. And I think it's not just one thing, it's all the things, and it's many things. And it's not just one egg in one basket. You've got, you got all different kind of bets out there that are helping kind of drive this. I know you're pretty passionate about, once you've started your business and you're kind of getting going and you're beyond kind of the, are we going to live to see another day kind of mentality, really helping others and kind of giving back to the community. Talk to me a little bit about like why you do this, and then like, how do you do this? So there's pros that are like, oh, I want to do what Marko's doing. How did you get started? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Every job, every customer is different. It's the clientele. It's becoming a little more difficult where you have to manage them, and wording on your estimates. It's very, very important. I had a contract for a very, very beginning, which was kind of broad in description of not only what's included, but what's not included, because people will kind of tend to find those things as well. So I have a disclosure of what's not included or in our terms and conditions, because there are so many things. Another thing that helped us grow is like, we go every year. There's a National Wood Flooring Association, seminars and we go to different places so we can learn a little more about the industry, the business, the manufacturers, the process of how everything is done, and obviously learn about the jobs. I'm also in the process right now of getting licensed to the National Wood Flooring Association as a professional sander and installer. So it goes a lot. If you want to do it right, it's very deep, and you gotta play the game. If you're engaging to play the game, you got to do it right. As to giving back to the community, we started doing multiple projects a year where it's a pure donation. We did recently one for a facility for kids, that we did 2 game rooms, and that was an awesome project because we got to see so many kids come together for a little thing. We did a game room on the first floor, game room on the second floor. We got a little help from one of our contractors where they did the walls. We did all the floors, donated the floors, and it just came out awesome. And to see just the smile on these kids' faces after we're done with everything, it was just priceless. So as I grow, like it's, you got to remember where you came from and kind of give back to the community.
Yeah, and I think long term too, the community will see that and they'll give back to you. And you don't do it for that reason, but it ends up building your brand. Your trucks are out there in the community. There's pictures. People share that kind of stuff. That's really great. And what a lot of other pros don't know is like this, it can be considered a marketing expense too. You can write this off. This is all tax free or takes away from your gross.
True. That's another. That's another. When you look at it that way, that's another. Exception.
Yep.
That you can use. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know there's like a whole bunch of things that House Call Pro does, but we were talking about it a little bit earlier. What do you think is probably one of the most underrated features that not enough people talk about that you feel has made a big difference in your business?
Good question. There's so many good features, but one of my favorite one must be the automatic follow-ups. Sparky is doing a killing for us. You can set it up every way you want. For us, it's set up where we do, after we send the initial estimate, we send a message to a customer that we sent the estimate, let us know if you need to review anything, if you have any questions, things like that. There is automatic follow-up set for the next day. Hey, did you get the estimate? Do you have any questions? And a lot of the people that you send them the estimate initial day, unfortunately, they don't even say thank you, or they don't say, yeah, I got it. Thanks. Let me review. So we have one that is going the next day, one that it goes after 3 days. Hey, did you get to talk to whoever? Did you make a decision? Is there anything that we can change to make it work? Anything like that? And we have a third follow-up after 7 days, where it's like, hey, have you made a decision, or should we cancel the estimate on our end? So we don't bother you with follow-ups and things like that. And we usually get a response, at least, even if it's a no. I appreciate a straight no from a customer. Even if it's on a third follow-up, hey, sorry, we found a different lane, but it's about putting yourself in the best position to get that job.
Yeah.
So it's getting that estimate quickly to the customer, getting it, following up on it, and being able to deliver on your promise.
Yeah, and it's something that you can kind of like set and forget it, and it just takes that load off your shoulders. Because I feel like if you're out there running a ton of estimates, you're going to start to forget, like, who do I need to remind at what point, how many times have I sent them this thing? And,
Yes.
maybe in the beginning, if you're just a one-person show doing all of it, maybe you can remember then. But I guarantee you, if you've got other folks out there also giving estimates, there's no way that you can kind of keep up with that, and definitely automating that away. It's a feature we don't talk enough about, but Sparky definitely kind of comes to bat for you when
Sparky's
he's
yes.
just the best employee.
Yes. Well, when you're a smaller company, especially, you got to try and automate as many things as you can.
Mm-hmm.
So anything helps at that point.
Yeah. What about what's a feature that you're like, oh man, Marko, you should have been using this since the start? Like what's that feature where if you're like, oh, you rewind yourself, 5 years, and you're like, all right, baby Marko, come on, man, use this thing.
I started using the scheduling system a little late, maybe, and which is very convenient because the customer can put their information directly to your software with their email without a mistake. And they schedule the time that works for them. We have it set up 2 days from now. So if they want to schedule from Tuesday to Thursday, they can schedule on Thursday for a time frame that it's about 2 hours. So that helps a lot, where they can go and themselves schedule it, put all the information of what you need without spending sometimes 15 minutes on the phone with Linda explaining about, her cat. That I'm like, I haven't even come to your house. I don't know. She's like, well, if you can give me a price, because my cat is going to the vet tomorrow and I have to know. I'm like, well, just schedule it online.
Yeah. No, I think online scheduling is great because more and more people just want to have the convenience of like, okay, I know my time slots. Let me see when you're available, rather than like, Magnus, give me some times and you give me some times. And it's this back and forth, and who knows about the cat and how long the vet visit's going to be. They know, let them book themselves.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be mean or anything. I still handle those customers much better than explaining to pros about it, but everybody knows my pain. So
that's right.
It's fine. We all have been there.
I think all pros empathize with the cat lady motif for sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, this has been awesome. So many good nuggets of information. Is there any other advice you'd give your younger self? When you were starting your business, any kind of like motivation or quotes or books or podcasts? Like what do you think would have made a difference 5 years ago?
I would say, don't worry, it will all happen.
I love it.
When you work hard and there is a wall behind your back, there is no going back. So as long as you work hard, it's going to happen. And, as everybody, especially at the beginning, we have a big stress of if it's going to happen or not. If you're going to make the threshold, a lot of businesses don't make it past, a year or two of their startup. So I had a guy that gave me advice, an older guy, which was, one day you'll have enough work that you won't know what to do with it. And soon enough that day came, and as long as you do the right thing and you do, deliver quality service and you're true to your word, be a better person that you're a business owner, and it'll go a long way.
I love that advice. And I think not enough people hear that. And so sometimes it's easier to kind of give up. But, when there's no way to turn around, you just got to go forward and you'll get there, especially with hard work. And if you're listening to this podcast, you're already in, the top 5% because you're already learning from other folks that have done it, have been more experienced, are living the dream like Marko. I really appreciate you coming on to the show and sharing your advice and tips. And for all of our pros, we've got another special episode coming next week. Thanks so much, Marko.
Bye to everybody. Thanks so much.
The Superpro Podcast is brought to you by Housecall Pro, the leading platform for the home service industry. Housecall Pro streamlines your workflows and simplifies everything from scheduling and dispatching to communication and billing. Unlock the full potential of your home service business with Housecall Pro. Work smarter and more efficiently with streamlined workflows and detailed analytics. Win more business and serve your customers well, every single time. Join more than 40,000 home service pros who have already revolutionized their businesses. Work smarter with streamlined workflows, get organized with centralized information, and scale your business your way. Learn more at housecallpro.com.